The sunset was perfect. The ring was beautiful. The man on one knee was already married to me. Galveston had always been Samantha's sanctuary. The salty breeze, the low hum of waves pulling against the shore, the tourist chatter that ebbed and flowed without consequence, this was her rhythm. Her marriage, too, had that rhythm, predictable, soothing. Samantha was 33, a communications manager at the local tourism board. She loved her job, her beach morning rituals, and her quiet evenings with Nathan, her husband of 5 years. Nathan was 36, a marine engineer whose life revolved around oceanic surveys. Tides, and tides again. He traveled often for work, sometimes gone for days at a time, chasing deep currents and data models. She never questioned it. They had no children, not by choice or misfortune, just by quiet mutual agreement. Their life was simple: shared coffees, shared playlists, matching towels, and an easy rhythm of comfort. Friends called them the calmest couple they knew. That was before the beach proposal. It was a Saturday, warm, breezy, loud with weekenders. Samantha and her best friend Celeste had just wrapped up a brunch at a cafe by the pier and decided to walk off the mimosas. They strolled along the shoreline, sandals in hand, the water licking their feet with familiarity. "Looks like someone setting up something fancy," Celeste said, pointing ahead. A small crowd had gathered further down the sand. Cameras clicked. Someone was handing out flowers. The curve of people revealed an open circle framed by white petals and flickering candles despite the wind. "A proposal," Samantha mused. "Looks like it. We should watch." They approached with casual curiosity, lingering at the edge of the semicircle. Samantha tucked her hair behind one ear, smiling at the romantic scene. A man in a crisp white shirt stood in the center, holding a small black box. A young woman, glowing in a yellow sundress, gasped, hands to her face. Then the man dropped to one knee. Samantha's heart skipped, her smile faded, her breath caught. Because the man was Nathan. The same curve of his jaw, the birthmark on his neck, the way his hand shook when he opened a box. He was proposing to someone else. "Oh my God," Celeste whispered. "Sam." But Samantha didn't answer. Her legs were lead. Her lungs burned. The sea suddenly felt distant. She didn't scream, didn't storm forward, didn't make a scene. Instead, she reached into her tote, pulled out her phone, and hit record. She filmed the moment Nathan said, "Lily, you are my everything." She filmed the girl nodding, crying, saying yes. She filmed the applause, the kiss, the embrace. And then she turned, carefully, and walked away. She didn't speak for a full block. Celeste trailed her in stunned silence. "Sam, are you okay? I need to go home," Samantha said. Her voice was flat, controlled, like the tide pulling back before a storm. At home, Nathan's slippers were at the door, his toothbrush in the holder, a pile of folded laundry he promised to put away. He wasn't due back until Monday. She poured a glass of water, took a shower, didn't cry, didn't speak. She uploaded the video from her phone to her laptop, saved it to 2 hard drives, printed 3 screenshots and slid them into a file labeled "Proof." Then she sat in bed, waiting. The irony was cinematic. He walked in the door Sunday night with sand on his collar and sea still in his voice. "Hey, baby," he called. "Sorry, signal was rough out there. Trip was longer than expected." She stood in the kitchen, pouring wine. "All good. Missed you," he said, wrapping his arms around her from behind. She didn't flinch, just sipped, swallowed. "Did you see the sunset tonight?" He smiled. "You know me, I always do." She nodded, staring at her reflection in the microwave door. It was a beautiful sunset, just not meant for her. Nathan slept beside her that night, like nothing had happened. Like he hadn't just dropped to one knee and asked another woman to marry him beneath the same sun that still warmed his wedding ring. Samantha didn't sleep. She lay beside him, perfectly still, listening to the ocean outside and the quiet lies between them. Her mind replayed the video frame by frame, the slight tremble in his voice, the way he looked at the other woman, Lily, with devotion that didn't feel borrowed. It was a performance, yes, but one that didn't seem rehearsed. The next morning, he made coffee, kissed her cheek, told her he'd unpack later. "I'm going to the market," she said. "Grab some of those cinnamon rolls I like." She smiled. Of course. She didn't go to the market. She went to a private investigator's office. There was no drama in her tone, no cracking in her voice. She explained everything in the cadence of someone describing a rental dispute. "I don't need confrontation," she said. "I need facts." The investigator's name was Gloria. Mid-40s, practical eyes, no small talk. She nodded, took the USB Samantha slid across the desk, and asked a few clean questions. By Wednesday, Samantha had an address, a name, Lily Monroe, age 28, freelance photographer, based in Houston, now living part-time in Galveston. Met Nathan 2 years ago during a coastal preservation shoot. They had been in contact ever since. Nathan had fabricated entire work trips, used his real research as a skeleton, but filled in the gaps with weekends spent with Lily. Hotels, beach cottages, even an Airbnb listed under a business account. Samantha read the reports like they were chapters from someone else's life. Receipts, GPS logs, photographs. In one image, Nathan held Lily's hand as they crossed a seafood market in Port Aransas. In another, he stood behind her, his chin resting on her head, both of them barefoot and smiling in a way that didn't look stolen. Samantha stared at that image for a long time. It wasn't rage that came. It was realization. Nathan hadn't been swept away by temptation. He hadn't had a one-time lapse in judgment. He had built something, carefully, quietly, with a patience that mirrored how he once courted her. She remembered their first trip to Galveston. He'd packed her favorite snacks, chose the exact Airbnb she'd bookmarked weeks earlier, wrote her a poem on the second night. He had always been intentional. So this wasn't a mistake. It was a design. That night, while they watched a movie together, Nathan rested his arm across the back of the couch. He smelled of cedar soap. Familiar, ordinary. "Do you think the ocean ever keeps secrets?" Samantha asked, eyes still on the screen. He chuckled. "If it does, it's only because no one's listening." She smiled. It was practiced now. "I think the tide always brings things back," she said quietly, "even the things we try to bury." He glanced at her but didn't ask. That told her everything. He didn't suspect, didn't think she knew, and maybe that was the most devastating part of all. He still believed she was the perfect cover, the one who wouldn't question, the backdrop to his illusion. Samantha excused herself and went to the bathroom, locked the door, took a long breath, then opened the file on her phone again. Photo after photo, text message logs, timeline reports. She wasn't gathering evidence anymore. She was building a story. Because this wasn't about infidelity alone. It was about betrayal of identity. The man who held her at night didn't cheat on her by accident. He cheated on her with intention, with strategy, with a second self he kept safely tucked away behind tight schedules and travel charts. And now, she was done pretending she didn't see it. She wasn't ready to confront him. Not yet. But she was ready to decide who she was. Not his wife, not his cover, just a woman who knew everything. And that made her dangerous. It began with a folder. One quiet Sunday morning, Samantha placed it on the kitchen table. She didn't slam it, didn't throw it, just set it down like it held dinner plans or tax returns. Nathan was pouring coffee. "What's that?" he asked casually, voice still hoarse from sleep. "Open it," she said. He hesitated, then flipped the cover. Photographs, GPS logs, receipts, screenshots of text messages, one still frame from the proposal video, his knee on the sand. Lily's face alight with joy. The ring between them like a promise made in another dimension. Nathan's fingers froze on the edge of the page. "What is this?" "Your other life," Samantha replied, voice soft, steady, "the one you thought the ocean could hide for you." He looked up slowly, eyes wide, mouth opening, then closing again. "Sam, I don't," She pushed a chair out for herself and sat. I'm not interested in apologies you practiced in your head on the drive back. I'm not here to give you a chance to lie better. Just tell me what you were planning to do, have 2 weddings. He rubbed his face with both hands. His shoulders slumped. It wasn't like that. I didn't mean for it to go this far. But it did. He nodded slowly. I made a mistake. She leaned forward. No, Nathan, a mistake is missing an anniversary or forgetting to call. What you did was a blueprint. It was a double life. You curated 2 realities and kept them parallel. That's not a mistake. That's architecture. He put his head in his hands. I didn't want to lose you. I don't know. I got swept up. I thought I could manage both. Samantha laughed. It was dry, humorless. Manage. Like time zones. Like meetings. I wasn't a person to you. I was a schedule slot. He looked up, eyes rimmed red. I'll end it. With her. I swear. I'll cancel everything. Please, Sam, we can fix this. We always fix things. She shook her head slowly. You don't understand. You didn't just cheat on me. You cheated on the entire idea of us. You betrayed the image of love you sold me. The safety, the story. He reached across the table. She didn't move. You built a second wedding while I was waiting to eat dinner with you. You practiced vows with someone else while I ironed your shirt. You used me as your alibi. Nathan's voice cracked. Please, I'll tell her the truth. I'll end it. She'll find out anyway, Samantha said. She stood, gathered the folder, and slid it back into her bag. I'll give you 24 hours to tell her. After that, she gets a copy of everything I just gave you. He stared at her like a man watching a ship leave without him. Sam, do you still love me? She paused at the door. I loved someone you pretended to be. I don't even know if that person ever existed. She left the room. By Tuesday, Lily had left him. According to Gloria's final report, the confrontation had been short. Explosive. Nathan had tried to spin it. Said it was complicated, that he'd been planning to tell her. That Samantha was overreacting. Lily didn't buy it. She was gone by morning. Nathan sent a single text, "She's gone." Samantha didn't reply. Because in the end, it wasn't about Lily, or proposals, or even infidelity. It was about the quiet cruelty of lies well maintained. The kind that doesn't unravel. It detonates. 1 month later, Samantha filed for divorce. No press, no social media scandal, no whispered gossip in the neighborhood. Just a quiet meeting with a lawyer who didn't ask for reasons. Only paperwork. Nathan didn't contest it. There were no arguments, no desperate last-minute pleas. Perhaps he knew too well that some silences are louder than any goodbye. Samantha packed her things in silence. Not rushing, not dragging her feet. She didn't cry over the photographs or the trinkets they bought on trips. She simply folded the memories, one by one, into boxes marked with dates, not emotions. She moved in with her sister 2 towns over, a little house near the bay, with wide windows and wind chimes that sounded like distant ships. For the first time in years, Samantha woke up without waiting for a text, without checking the tide schedules, without wondering where Nathan might be. She started writing again. At first, it was just for herself, a document called Unedited, a place to pour the pieces that didn't fit into casual conversations. Then it became a blog. Anonymous. No names. Just the sea, the lies, and the woman who saw it all. Her tone wasn't bitter. It was clean, measured, each post a tide that rose and pulled back, carrying fragments of truth onto digital shores. One piece, titled "The Man I Thought I Knew," quietly went viral. I used to think I loved a man. But over time, I realized I loved the version of him he performed for me, flawlessly, lovingly, until it all cracked. He wasn't a villain, just a skilled actor with too many scripts. And I was just the wrong audience for the story he wanted to tell. Thousands read it, hundreds commented, some thanked her, some told their own stories. A few guessed the truth. She didn't confirm or deny. She didn't need to. In her silence, she reclaimed control. A few weeks later, a small local podcast invited her on, not knowing her full story. only aware of her rising voice in the space of women's recovery and self-narrative. She accepted. In the interview, the host asked, "What is it about Galveston that keeps you here?" "After everything," Samantha smiled. "The beach doesn't lie," she said. "It returns what we try to bury. Especially lies. And if you listen carefully, the tide teaches you when to hold on. And when to walk away." The clip was shared over and over again. Nathan left Galveston shortly after the divorce was finalized. No one heard from him. His name disappeared from the university's marine program website. His proposal video, once posted proudly by Lily on her now deleted account, became a ghost on the internet, shared out of context by strangers who didn't know the story beneath the sand. Samantha stayed. She walked the same beach every Saturday morning. Wind in her face, sand in her shoes, not looking for closure, just practicing the art of continuing. No one called her bitter. They called her resilient. She didn't correct them. She simply kept walking. Samantha didn't raise her voice. She didn't chase closure. She simply walked away, and let the waves tell the truth. But betrayal doesn't always happen in secret. Sometimes, it smiles beside you in every wedding photo. Sometimes, it gives a toast at your reception. Next on Infidelity Chronicles, Noah from Fort Worth. His wife's co-worker became his best man and his worst enemy. The deeper the friendship, the deadlier the lie.